It's Sunday, April 26th, and it's time for summer planting. We received about 4 inches of rain last week, and the temperatures are up in the upper 70s to lower 80s now, so soil conditions are perfect. And you can see field conditions are perfect as well. So we're going to be planting my summer mix of summer annuals, which I'll go into a lot of detail as time goes by here. I'll be planting a field of Alice clover and joint vetch. I'll mix the two together. I will go into some detail on that, and I'm going to be doing an experiment as well with some Laredo forage soybeans. I've never planted that before, so it's going to be new for me, and I've been watching Dr. Grant Woods. I've got an experiment I want to try. We're going to start there first, and we'll take a look at that and show you what I want to try to do. But in the meantime, as you can see, I think this field is in perfect shape. The Elbon rye with the tall stuff here, it started to go to seed a little bit. It has senesced, I think is the word for it, and most of the seed in the rye is in the milk stage. The wheat has turned brown. It's turned brown. A lot of it's kind of gone to seed some, and that's okay too. It won't cause any problems, but the rye and the wheat will create a great thatch for me to drill into. As you can see, there are some great turnips in this field. I'm sitting here holding this thing. The turnips are just about to start to bolt here a little bit, but when I run the crimper through this field, it's going to knock this off. It'll terminate them. But the big thing in this field is the crimson clover. I planted this field in crimson clover 3 or 4 years ago, and I wait until all of the clover has gone to seed, so it's turned from red to brown. You can see some of that in the field here. See if I can get some. You can see the crimson, it's through blooming now, so it's going to be in hard seed. It'll dry out, go to hard seed, and I'll get it back next year. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So the field's in perfect condition. I'm going to start with the Laredo soybeans tomorrow, but we'll follow along with the video through the whole process and see how it all goes. Stay tuned and follow along. So let's get started. Here's the first field we're going to plant, and we are planting it in black Laredo soybeans. I don't know how well that shows up, but it's black Laredo soybeans. That's a forage type soybean. And this is the experimental field that I mentioned. So the idea that behind it is, and I got this idea from Grant Woods, so it's not an original idea, is I'm going to plant these soybeans. They're a forage type, so they'll keep growing to a frost. Towards September, maybe 1st of October, I'm going to come in and drill directly into the growing and living forage soybeans with my fall cultivars, which will be small grains, some clover, radishes, turnips, and I'll put a bunch of chicory in here too. So the idea behind that is so that there's always something growing in the field. We'll see. It's an experiment. I've never planted the forage type soybeans before, so it'll be interesting to see. Now, another interesting thing to notice, and you won't be able to see this, but I'll point it out, and something you should always watch as you're doing your plantings is the germination rate is 75%. So while we have everything set for 40 pounds to the acre, we're only getting, what, more or less about 30 pounds to the acre because of the germination rate. The other thing that's interesting that you find on these tags right here is a noxious weeds per pound, noxious weeds per pound. And in this bag is morning glory. So if you've ever planted a food plot and had things come up that you didn't expect and you're wondering what on earth it was, may have been in your bag of seed. Now, the last thing I should mention is that I'll probably never get sponsors for anything I do because, as you can also see, this bag's got no picture of a buck on it. I use my own seed mixes that I get from the feed and seed store. I don't use buck on the bag. Same thing with protein pellets. I don't use any name brand protein. It's protein we developed ourselves. So I don't really, my camouflage, well, it isn't camouflage. I don't wear camouflage hardly at all. But no name brand products here, hence no sponsors. But this is all stuff that you can do just as easily as I do and save you a bunch of money. So we're getting started here. Next step, roller crimping. Let's go take a look at that. So now we move into the fields that we double crop with the summer annuals coming up. And the first step, as I've talked about, is roller crimping. You can see the roller crimper there, and what that does, since we do no disking at all anymore, it creates a thatch which does a couple of things. One, it suppresses weeds, and two, and equally importantly, is it becomes the organic matter that will slowly build this soil up and make it better and better. Also, it's my fertilizer. You can see in here I've got quite a bit of crimson clover growing. You can see how it treats the radishes here. It kind of splits them up so they'll rot down in the field. That'll feed the worms and the microbiome of the soil, and altogether it enriches the field. Now, I'll come in and drill directly into this, and that's going to be the next step. Let's take a look at the drilling process now. And now we start drilling. One more thing that's worth noticing. Trucks loaded with feed. We're putting out protein today too. So as you can see, we're starting the drilling now. That's the second step in this field, and then that's something worth noticing. We're only going to make 2 passes on this field, and it'll be fully planted. 1 pass with a roller crimper and 1 pass with a drill. I won't be spraying this field at all. The thatch will help suppress the weeds somewhat, but certainly there's going to be some weeds in it, but I'm okay with that because as the cultivars get to going up, they're going to choke out a lot of the weeds. The thatch will suppress the weeds, the cultivars will start to choke out the weeds, and if there's some weeds in it, I'm okay with that too. And what I have noticed over time is there's fewer and fewer weeds as the field has gotten healthier and healthier. But so what am I planting? This year, first of all, I'm planting into a field of Elbon rye, wheat, radishes, and turnips, crimson clover. So all that's mulched down, crimped down, and what I'm planning is I'll be doing 20 pounds of cowpeas, 10 pounds of soybeans, 10 pounds of buckwheat, 5 pounds of sun hemp, 3 pounds of sunflowers, 1 pound of okra, and 1 pound of milo per acre. What that'll give me is all different sorts of heights on the plants, as well as all different sorts of leaf structures to capture the sunlight. Take that sunlight, fix it down into the soil. Each of those plants has an entirely different root structure, so there will be numerous different root structures, let's get that right, into the ground. And one other thing that's kind of cool too, everything in that mix, deer love. Everything in that mix, be good for the soil. So it's a win-win all the way around. 2 passes, it's planted. Now, let's move on to the next field. I'll show you how we're going to do a little joint veg. Hope this is helpful. I'm running an experiment here. Climatic conditions last fall when we planted weren't that great. It's kind of dry, and this field frankly didn't get as thick as I hoped it might. So I am going to try, this was an experiment, drilling straight into the rye and wheat, the winter cultivars as they stand. Looks to me like it's going to work, but I think I'm going to need to come back and spray it after we finish. So once he's finished planting this field, I'm going to come back and take a look. But anyhow, I think as far as the experiment goes, it works pretty good. I do think that we could drill right into the standing rye. So let's go. I'll take a closer look and report back. It's May 20th, and as you can see here, it's pouring down raining again. In fact, wife and I went for a run on the farm today, and we got soaked. But you know what? That's just part of the fun. So I'd hoped to have this video wrapped up a couple of weeks ago, but in fact, it's been raining all May. I don't know how much it's rained so far, but probably at least 10 inches. So we still haven't got the vetch planted or the milo planted, and I had hoped to include that in this video, but in fact, the field that I'd wanted to put the joint vetch in has standing water. Well, this isn't going to help at all. So We're pretty much rain delayed for now, so I thought I'd bring this video to a wrap because there's one thing that's for sure, and that is mud and standing water and no-till drills. They don't really mix very well. So I'll cut this video off here, and what we will do is I'll come back when I go to plant the vetch and the milo. I'll do that video, and that'll also be an opportunity where I can come back and show you the progress that we've made on the food plots so far. The summer blend that I put in has been coming up very nicely, while the rain has made it a little trickier to plant. Certainly it's helped the crops that are growing. So I'll circle back, we'll take a look at those, and also take a look at jump planting some vetch and milo. So hope this has been helpful, and hope you enjoyed it.